Okay, let's dive in. There's this idea, and it's a powerful one, that if you could point to just one country on Earth and call it humanity's cradle,
Hmm.
researchers are increasingly saying that country would be Tanzania.
Right. And it's fascinating because this goes way beyond just the famous fossil discoveries.
Exactly. As amazing as those are, we're talking about something alive almost.
Yes, a living genetic archive. It's right there in the DNA of Tanzanian people today.
Reflecting something like, what, nearly 200,000 years of human history?
It's truly compelling. We're not just discussing ancient bones here or, a past that feels distant.
Yeah.
We're talking about people living now whose genes give us this incredible window, an unparalleled view into our shared human story.
That's such a crucial distinction. So, okay, for this deep dive, our mission really is to explore why.
Mm-hmm.
Why is Tanzania's genetic heritage so special? What insights does it offer, about evolution, adaptation?
And the difficult questions it brings up, too.
Absolutely. The profound, sometimes really complex questions about knowledge, ethics, identity.
Yeah.
Especially now, in our modern world.
It is. It's a journey right back to the roots of who we are.
And it forces us maybe to rethink not just our origins, but what that means for our future.
Precisely.
Okay, so to really get this, we need to start at the beginning, geographically almost.
Right.
Scientists pinpoint Tanzania, which sits in East Africa's Rift Valley,
A really key location.
as home to some of the most ancient and diverse human genetic lineages ever found. Anywhere.
It's a genetic hotbed, like
Yep.
a primary library, you could say, of human diversity.
And connecting that to the bigger picture.
Well, it just hammers home Africa's foundational role and, everything human origins. These aren't just old lines, they're incredibly varied.
They diverged super early.
Exactly. Very early on in human history. So you get this wider spectrum of early genetic variation than you find anywhere else on the planet.
And then within Tanzania itself, you have specific groups, like the Hadza.
Ah, the Hadza, yes.
Researchers describe them as one of the last hunter-gatherer groups still practicing that lifestyle.
That's right.
And their genetics. They apparently split off from other human lines, 50, 60,000 years ago?
Around that time, yes. 50,000 to 60,000 years ago. It's an incredibly deep split.
So what does that mean they preserve? What's been lost elsewhere that they still carry, genetically speaking?
That's the key question. And studies have shown something quite remarkable.
Okay.
The Hadza genome, it contains up to 14% genetic variants that are just not commonly found outside Africa.
14%, that's huge.
It is. It highlights their really unique evolutionary path. Their DNA is this extraordinary resource, almost like a snapshot of humanity from a very, very early stage of our journey.
Like finding a perfectly preserved time capsule, biologically speaking.
You could definitely see it that way.
And this genetic story, it isn't floating in isolation, is it? There's the fossil evidence, too.
Absolutely. From places like Olduvai Gorge, right there in Tanzania.
Right. Famous site.
World famous. And it shows our early ancestors, Homo habilis, Homo erectus. They were living in that area over 1.8 million years ago.
Wow. 1.8 million.
So it's this powerful combination, this sort of 1-2 punch of evidence. You have the ancient bones and you have the ancient DNA in living people.
Both pointing to Tanzania's incredibly deep roots in the human story.
Which naturally leads us to ask, okay, why does all this genetic diversity actually matter today?
Right, beyond just historical curiosity.
What tangible insights does it offer us now?
And this is where it gets really interesting, I think. Because this diversity, it acts like a kind of biological time machine. Not just for looking back, but for understanding how we function now.
Oh, so?
Well, scientists found that Tanzania's gene pool holds variations linked to some really fundamental things. Metabolic efficiency, for example. Immune system strength. Environmental adaptability. It's like finding the source code for human resilience.
And it's not just a historical list, it's a living blueprint. You see it in action.
Give us an example.
Okay, take certain alleles, different versions of a gene found in pastoralist groups like the Maasai.
Right, the cattle herders.
Exactly. They have alleles strongly associated with lactose tolerance, being able to digest milk into adulthood.
Which makes sense for their diet.
Precisely. But what's really fascinating is that this adaptation, this genetic trait, it evolved independently.
Independently of
the similar lactose tolerance traits that evolved in European populations.
so it happened twice, basically. In different places for similar reasons.
Exactly. It's a textbook case of convergent evolution, similar environmental pressures in this case, a milk-rich diet leading to similar genetic solutions arising separately.
So you're literally seeing natural selection playing out over millennia, encoded right there in their DNA today.
That's right.
Okay, so connecting this ancient past to the present, what are some specific ways these old adaptations might actually help us with modern problems? Health concerns, for instance.
Well, this is where the potential is really exciting, though it's still early days for a lot of this research.
Sure.
Some researchers genuinely believe these insights, discovered in populations like those in Tanzania, could one day help us tackle major modern health issues.
Like what?
Things like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, maybe even challenges related to nutrition and climate change.
What's the mechanism?
The thinking is that the resilience, the specific metabolic or immune adaptations encoded in these ancient genes, they might hold keys to entirely new ways of understanding these diseases, or perhaps even developing new treatments or preventative strategies.
So it's a direct line from our deep past to our most urgent current health concerns.
Potentially, yes, a very direct connection.
Right. And this is a big but, isn't it?
Hmm.
This kind of research, especially with unique populations, it walks a fine line. It raises some serious ethical concerns.
Absolutely. It casts a shadow. You hear the term biopiracy.
Explain that.
It's basically the concern that DNA or other biological resources from indigenous or maybe rural communities are collected, often for international research,
Right.
but without fair compensation, or sometimes without truly informed consent from the community itself.
Has this happened in Tanzania?
There have been widely debated cases. One involved foreign researchers studying the Hadza's gut microbiome.
Their gut bacteria?
Yes, that complex community of microbes in their digestive system and also their genetics.
And the criticism.
Critics argued these studies risked misusing the Hadza's unique genetic heritage, that it could potentially exploit their cultural and biological distinctiveness, maybe even for commercial gain down the line.
So who benefits?
Yeah.
Who owns the knowledge derived from someone's DNA?
That's the core question, and it becomes incredibly complex.
And it's not just about money or commercialization, right? There's a deeper cultural friction, too.
Definitely. There's often a tension between this global scientific interest, the drive to understand human origins and local cultural values, beliefs, worldviews.
How does that play out?
Well, for example, in some Tanzanian communities, DNA testing might be met with deep suspicion, sometimes due to beliefs about spiritual connections to ancestors, the idea that blood or saliva contains something more than just biological information.
So the concept of informed consent gets tricky.
Very tricky. It leads to debates about whether consent can ever be truly informed, if the deep cultural context, the beliefs about what DNA is or represents, aren't fully understood or respected by the researchers.
It's about respecting sovereignty, isn't it? Over your own biology, your own cultural identity.
Precisely. It's a crucial ethical frontier for science.
And it's because this heritage is so incredibly profound and, yeah, sometimes contested, that we need to grasp its sheer scale. So let's try to visualize this unique genetic tapestry in Tanzania. Give us that striking fact again.
Okay, get this. Geneticists emphasize that the genetic differences between two unrelated Hadza individuals,
Just two people from the same group.
yes, can be as large as the genetic differences between, say, someone in Europe and someone in East Asia.
Wait, really? That's hard to wrap your head around.
It is staggering when you pause to consider it. It means the genetic variation within just that one group in Tanzania can span what we think of as major continental differences in diversity.
Wow.
And the compelling insight there is what it tells us about Africa as a whole. Its massive internal genetic diversity.
And Tanzania is right at the heart of that diversity.
Genuinely at its heart. Showcasing humanity's deepest genetic roots.
Yeah.
We often think about global diversity, between continents.
Right.
But the diversity within Africa itself is immense, foundational.
It really makes you stop and rethink categories. And I guess it makes sense historically, too.
How so?
Because Tanzania has been this crossroads for millennia, right?
Yeah.
It's seen wave after wave of migration.
Absolutely, from ancient Bantu expansions moving across the continent.
To later influences, like Arab traders on the Swahili coast.
Exactly, all these movements, interactions over vast stretches of time.
So the modern gene pool there is this incredibly rich tapestry.
It truly is, woven from some of the oldest threads in human history, and some of the more recent ones, too. It's quite literally a living record of human movement, interaction, adaptation, all imprinted in their DNA.
Which brings us back to those big questions you mentioned earlier.
Yes, because this heritage, it prompts some serious reflection. It goes way beyond the lab.
It's not just scientific data. It's a cultural and ethical touchstone.
Definitely.
So we're left wrestling with these fundamental issues, things like, should this ancient, unique genetic heritage, like we find in Tanzania, should it be treated purely as a global scientific resource, something for all humanity?
Or should it be primarily safeguarded as perhaps a national treasure, belonging first and foremost to the people and the nation where it originated?
And how do researchers possibly balance that? The drive for knowledge, which is vital for understanding ourselves, with the absolute need to protect cultural rights, community rights, ensuring these groups aren't exploited or disrespected.
It's a difficult balance, a crucial one to get right.
And then, maybe the biggest question, who decides?
Exactly. Who ultimately gets to decide how this incredibly valuable, deeply personal data is used?
Is it the scientists doing the research?
Or the government setting the regulations?
Or should it be the people themselves, the communities whose ancestors carried this history for tens of thousands of years?
It's clear that scientists see Tanzania's genetic heritage as a key chapter, a foundational piece of the human story.
A fundamental part of our shared narrative, our collective understanding of who we are.
Yes.
So we leave you with this thought. Should this heritage belong to everyone, to all of humanity? Because it tells us about our collective origins.
Or does it belong, perhaps more profoundly, more rightly, to those whose ancestors carried it, whose identity is woven into it across countless generations?
This really isn't just about science in the end, is it?
Not at all. It's about identity. It's about heritage. And it's about the future, really, of our shared human story. What do you think when you grapple with these questions?